Empires do not fall because their armies lose on the battlefield. They fall because of the choices their leaders make. The Roman Empire controlled vast territories for centuries. Its legions were unmatched. Its roads connected continents, and its culture spread across the known world. Yet Rome did not collapse in one final battle. It weakened from within. Corruption, arrogance, and overreach hollowed it out until enemies only had to push gently, and the empire crumbled. The Ottoman Empire once ruled from the gates of Vienna to the deserts of Arabia. For centuries, it stood as one of the most powerful states in history. But it too collapsed, not because its soldiers forgot how to fight, but because it could not adapt to modernity. Its leadership clung to outdated systems, ignored reforms, and failed to keep up with the rise of industrial Europe. The lesson is as old as history itself. Great powers are not defeated. They commit suicide by mistake. The British Empire fell not because it lacked ships or armies, but because its exploitation of colonies, its arrogance, and its inability to adapt to a multipolar world made its collapse inevitable. The Soviet Union fell not because its enemies were stronger, but because its leaders drained the economy, waged unwinnable wars, and ignored the needs of their own people. And today, history whispers that the United States of America, the superpower of the last 30 years, stands at a similar crossroads. Its economy is vast, its military unmatched, its influence global. Yet cracks are appearing. The danger is not that America is weak. The danger is that America is making mistakes that will make it weaker. And when great powers falter, another always rises. That rising power, against all predictions, may not be China. It may be India. At its height, the British Empire ruled 1/4 of humanity. The sun literally never set on its territories. London dictated trade routes, wars, and the fates of nations. But power built on arrogance always carries the seeds of downfall. Britain extracted raw materials from colonies without reinvestment. India supplied cotton, but Britain sold back finished textiles. African colonies produced rubber, tea, and gold, but little of that wealth returned to the people. This imbalance created resentment. Revolts brewed in Ireland, Africa, India, and beyond. Britain's second mistake was underestimating rising powers. As the United States industrialized, as Germany unified and grew, Britain assumed its dominance would last forever. It refused to share power in world institutions. Instead, it clung to colonialism in an age when colonies wanted freedom. World War I drained its resources. World War II finished the job. After 1945, Britain was technically on the side of victory, yet it emerged bankrupt, dependent on U.S. loans, and forced to decolonize. India, the jewel in the crown, won independence in 1947, and with it, Britain's empire was doomed. The lesson: arrogance, overreach, failure to adapt. The Soviet Union once terrified the West. It had nuclear weapons, vast armies, and the dream of global communism. But like all empires, it carried the weight of its mistakes. The Soviets poured trillions into their military. Tanks, submarines, missiles, nuclear warheads, weapons upon weapons. But the people stood in breadlines. Supermarkets were empty. Consumer goods were scarce. While the U.S. was building computers and cars, the USSR built more bombs. The Afghan War of 1979 was the Soviet Union's Vietnam. It entered confident of victory. A decade later, 15,000 Soviet soldiers were dead. Morale was shattered, and the empire was bleeding economically. Mikhail Gorbachev's reforms came too late. Glasnost and perestroika opened the system, but instead of saving it, they exposed how rotten it had become. In 1991, the red flag came down over the Kremlin. The empire collapsed without a major battle. Not because NATO invaded, but because its mistakes hollowed it from within. When the Soviet Union fell, America stood alone. The 1990s were an age of unipolar dominance. Washington could intervene anywhere. Its military was unmatched. Its dollar became the global currency. But power breeds arrogance. America treated its dominance as eternal. It expanded NATO despite Russian protests. It invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. It toppled regimes in Libya and interfered across the Middle East. It used sanctions as a weapon again and again. Each move seemed strong, but beneath the surface, every action planted resentment. Allies began to question American leadership. Rivals began to search for alternatives. And a new world slowly began to emerge, one where America was no longer the sole decision-maker. While Washington obsessed over China, it ignored India. For decades, India was dismissed as too poor, too chaotic, too divided to matter. But in the 21st century, India transformed. It became the fastest-growing major economy. Its population overtook China. Its IT sector turned into the world's digital backbone. Its space agency reached the moon's south pole, something no other nation had achieved. India's genius lies in its strategy. It refuses to choose sides. It trades with Russia, partners with the US, cooperates with China in BRICS, and signs defense deals with Europe. While America frames the world as US versus China, India quietly writes a new script, one where it stands as an independent pole of power. The US dollar is America's sharpest weapon. Sanctions cripple nations. But the more Washington uses this weapon, the more the world wants to escape it. Iran, Russia, Venezuela, Turkey, all have faced the sting of dollar sanctions. And every time countries seek alternatives, India has stepped in with rupee trade deals. In BRICS, it supports multipolar finance. Quietly, it builds a world less dependent on the dollar. If America overuses its dollar weapon, it may push the world into India's waiting hands. America spends more on its military than the next 10 nations combined. Yet Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya show that wars drain power more than they create it. India practices patience. It modernizes its defense, builds homegrown missiles, submarines, and jets, but avoids foreign wars. It wins credibility by restraint, not overreach. In a century where overreach kills empires, patience may be the deadliest weapon. America demands loyalty. India offers partnership. Europe resents US pressure on China. The Middle East resists American lectures while trading with Russia and China. Asia refuses to pick sides. Here, India thrives. It trades with Iran, buys oil from Russia, sells tech to the West, and signs defense deals with France. Flexible, adaptable, and pragmatic. In a divided world, it is not the loudest who wins. It is the most adaptable. The 21st century runs on technology, AI, semiconductors, 5G space. America leads but faces competition. China invests billions. Europe innovates. India quietly rises. India dominates IT services. Its youth population drives innovation. Its space missions inspire global admiration. With a young, ambitious workforce, India has what aging America and China lack: demographic momentum. Empires need legitimacy. The Soviet Union had none. America once had both power and moral authority, but wars, coups, and hypocrisy weakened it. India offers democracy, diversity, culture. Bollywood spreads globally. Yoga and Ayurveda shape wellness industries. The diaspora, from Silicon Valley to Dubai, carries Indian influence everywhere. The more America uses force, the more it loses legitimacy. The more India shares culture, the more it gains soft power. So, what mistake could America make next? Obsessing over China while ignoring India. Weaponizing the dollar until the world abandons it. Overstretching its military into exhaustion. Forcing allies into choices they don't want to make. Each mistake accelerates decline. Each mistake creates space for India. Empires fall with mistakes, not wars. Rome, Britain, the Soviet Union all fell the same way. Today, America risks repeating the pattern. And as it does, India rises. quietly, patiently, inevitably. The 21st century may not belong to America. It may not even belong to China. It may belong to the nation that avoids arrogance, embraces adaptability, and plays the long game. That nation is India.